Good morning, students. My name is Rashmi Bhabar, and I am going to teach you basic computer programming. Okay, so let's start with the unit 1. Okay. So why we need programming? As we can say, to communicate with computers, right? Okay. To solve real life problems, to automate tasks and save time. Okay. What does it mean communicate with computers? Computers knows only zeros and ones. That is binary language. Okay. We write code in English language, right? So how our program is converted into zeros and ones? Who convert? Compiler. What compiler do? It converts high level language into low level language, right? The code we write, that is in high level language. Okay, so it compiler converts into low level language. Low level language is binary language, zeros and ones. Computer understands only zeros and ones. Can we write code in zeros and ones? Is it easy to write whole code in zeros and ones? Is it easy? No, we cannot write code in zeros and ones. It is not possible. Okay, so why do we write programs? Why do we write? We write programs to instruct computers. Okay, computer can't think of it their own. So we have to give instruction. Whatever the instructions we give to computers, it act like that. Okay, to solve real life problems, to automate repetitive tasks, right? To create software, apps, games, and websites, to save time, increase efficiency, to process large amounts of data quickly and accurately, right? To develop new technologies, AI, robotics. What are the languages of computer? How do computer understand instructions? Okay, we have machine language, assembly language, high level language. Okay, what is machine language? Binary language. Computer understands only zeros and ones. Okay. In assembly language, it uses symbols, mnemonics, right? Mnemonics add A double D for addition, SUB for subtraction. Okay. What are high level languages? It is human friendly. What does it mean by human friendly? Human friendly means the language we can understand, we can write, right? So we are learning here C++, right? We can write code in English. Can we write code in zeros and ones? No. Okay. So we write code in high level language. What translation do? High level code must be converted to machine code. Whatever we code we write, no, it should be converted into machine code. Why we convert high level language to machine code? Because computers knows only zeros and ones, right? What is written here? True language is binary, but we use high level language. Okay, next slide. What is machine language? Lowest level programming language, written in binary digits, directly executed by the CPU. What does it mean by the directly executed by the CPU? Does machine language need translator? No. It is already in zeros and ones. Why we need translator? Does we need translator? No. So what does it mean? It does not need any compiler. So it is directly executed by the CPU. Okay. Does not require a compiler or interpreter. Very fast and efficient for the machine. What does it mean? Because it does not need compiler or a translator. So it is very fast and efficient. Okay. Last point is difficult for humans to read and write. Okay. ये humans के लिए for humans it is very difficult. Okay. We cannot write code in zeros and ones. Okay. What are the advantages? Directly understood by the computer. Very fast execution. What are the disadvantages? Difficult for humans. Hard to debug. We cannot debug code which is written in zeros and ones. What does it mean not portable? It means we different for each CPU type. The code we have written in CPU 1, right? We cannot execute that code in CPU 2, right? The code which is written in CPU 1, we cannot execute that code in the CPU 2. The codes which are written in machine language are not portable. Okay. What are the last point? Time consuming to write programs. Okay. Assembly language. Assembly language is a low-level programming language that use mnemonics instead of binary codes to represent machine instructions. Key features. Closer to machine language but easier to understand. Uses mnemonics like MOV, ADD, SUB, JMP. MOV means to move, right? JMP means to jump. Each instruction corresponds to one machine level instruction. Okay, requires an assembler to translate into machine code. Assembly language require assembler, okay, to convert code into machine code. What are the advantages? Easy to write, read, provide direct control over hardware. Okay. What are the disadvantages? Still difficult compared to high level language. Machine dependent. Programs are longer and harder to maintain. What is machine dependent? Machine dependent means if we write code in CPU 1, we cannot execute that code in CPU 2. Okay. So that is why it is machine dependent. What is high level programming language? High level languages are programming languages closer to human language. They abstract hardware details and make programs easier to read, write and maintain. Okay. What are the examples? C, C++, Java, Python, JavaScript, Ruby and PHP. What are the key features? Easy to learn, human readable syntax, portable across system. Okay, that is machine language and assembly language are machine dependent. We cannot port program from CPU 1 to CPU 2, that they are not portable, but high level language are portable, but it requires compiler and interpreter. Okay, use libraries and frameworks to simplify work. Focus on problem solving rather than hardware. What are the advantages of high level languages? Easier and faster to write programs, readable and maintainable. We can read codes which are written in English language. We cannot read codes which are written in zeros and ones. It is very difficult for us to read, right, and maintain. What is the third point? Portable across different machines. Means if I have written code in CPU 1, I can run that code in CPU 2 also. Okay? It is machine independent. ठीक है? What is the last point? Boost programmer productivity. What is the disadvantages? Slower than low level language. Requires translation. Why it is slow than low level language? Because low level language does not need any compiler or any interpreter. But high level language need translator. Right? So it needs translator. That is why the process becomes slow as compared to low level language. What are the applications? Web development. Okay, uses HTML, JavaScript, PHP, Python. Second, software development, C++, Java. Third, artificial intelligence and data science. We use Python and R. Game development, database, and mobile apps. Okay. So, introduction to C programming, the foundation of modern programming languages. Okay, it is general purpose procedural programming language developed by Dennis Ritchie in 1972 at Bell Labs, called the mother of all programming language. Why it is called mother of all the programming languages? Why? It is all the programming languages are derived from C programming. Okay. Okay. Last point is influence many modern languages like C++, Java, Python. What are the key features? It is high level language, small language having 32 keywords. Okay. Core language, as many other programming language are dependent on C. It is portable. What does it mean by portable? Means the code which is written in CPU 1, we can execute that code in CPU 2. It has many built-in functions and operators. Structured language, modular. Okay. It has pointers concept and extensible language. Compilation and execution is faster. Dynamic memory allocation, case sensitive, embedded system. What are the uses? It is used in operating system Windows, Linux and Unix. Compiler and interpreters, embedded system and IoT device, database systems, game development and graph. What are the advantages? Easy to learn and understand. Okay. Efficient and powerful language. Foundation for learning other programming language. Okay. The basic difference between low level language and high level language. Okay, closeness, close to hardware, and it is close to humans. Examples, machine and assembly. And here is the example C, C++, Java, Python. It is hard to learn and use, and it is easy to learn and use. Very fast, direct execute portable across system.